His name was Kim Dokja, and he often introduced himself this way, though most people didn't quite get him. His father gave him that name, hoping he'd grow up strong and independent, but it felt more like a curse because he'd been single and lonely all his life. He spent his free time reading online novels during his subway rides home from work. Yu Sang-ah from the HR department, whom Kim Dokja considered the office's most popular girl, approached him on the subway. They chatted about their commutes, and he was surprised to learn that she biked to work. Kim Dokja, on the other hand, was immersed in a web novel he'd been reading for years, which was about to end. This novel had been his solace during tough times, from school bullying to struggling through college and even enduring a difficult military service. It was a bittersweet moment as the long-running web novel was about to conclude, and Kim Dokja couldn't afford to support the author financially. He wished he could be the hero in a different genre, but realized his life was more like non-fiction than fantasy. Then, he received a message from the novel's author, thanking him for reading. The author wanted to express gratitude and send a gift just before the novel would become paid content. As Kim Dokja waited for the gift, the subway plunged into chaos, the lights went out, and the train stopped. Panic filled the passengers as they wondered if it was a terrorist attack. Just when the situation seemed dire, at exactly 7 p.m., an announcement declared the end of the free service for the 8,612th planetary system. A blinding flash and a system message marked the beginning of a new, unexpected chapter in Kim Dokja's life. The subway suddenly halted, enveloping the train car in darkness, and an incredulous sense of déjà vu filled Kim Dokja. Out of the void emerged a peculiar creature, a dokaibi, with 2 small horns and an otherworldly presence. Its appearance puzzled the commuters, resembling neither angel nor devil, but exuding an air of mischief. Kim Dokja recognized the dokaibi from a novel he knew, 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse. The dokaibi struggled to communicate due to a malfunctioning language patch, furthering the passengers' confusion. Some mistook the bizarre scenario for a movie shoot and requested a return to normalcy, while others grew increasingly anxious. As the situation escalated, Kim Dokja sensed the impending tragedy and warned his companion Yu Sang-ah not to intervene. The dokaibi's patience wore thin, and it revealed that this was no movie or dream but a harsh reality. The dokaibi accused the passengers of living carefree lives, oblivious to the hidden costs, instilling fear and apprehension. When a brave passenger offered money, thinking it was the dokaibi's desire, the creature accepted, but swiftly incinerated the offering, emphasizing its irrelevance outside of their space and time. The dokaibi announced that a growing debt needed to be repaid and assigned a gruesome task to the passengers: prove your worth by taking a life. With this chilling ultimatum, an ominous challenge loomed over the bewildered commuters. Yu Sang-ah tried calling the police but received no response, prompting her to seek advice from Kim Dokja. He urged her to remain calm and drew a parallel to a game in which only a few had survived an apocalypse. Yu Sang-ah was confused about the connection. Kim Dokja recalled a game-like scenario filled with bizarre events, echoing what he had read in a novel for over a decade. A man named Lee Hyun-sung, a character from the same novel, unexpectedly introduced himself as an army lieutenant, emphasizing the need for order during a national emergency. The situation took a surreal turn when a creature with antennae appeared on a live broadcast, imposing a 10-minute time limit and a penalty if no one died within 5 minutes. Kim Dokja noticed the unfolding events mirrored those in the novel, yet he sensed something was amiss. He anticipated the appearance of the main character, and his surprise grew when a commotion erupted, revealing a murder in a nearby cabin. A strange force field prevented anyone from leaving until the live broadcast scenario concluded. The creature showcased gruesome live footage of students from a girls' high school being killed. One student, Lee Ji-hai, emerged as the sole survivor after murdering a classmate, all happening on Channel Bay 23515, much to the creature's sadistic delight. Passengers grew suspicious as they watched a live video feed. Kim Dokja, the protagonist, anxiously awaited the main character's appearance. He recognized some events while others were unfamiliar. Frustrated by his inability to find the novel he sought, he remembered an email from the author, which contained the elusive text. Upon opening it, he discovered that his unique attribute allowed him to read at an extraordinary speed. Kim Dokja's newfound ability to read quickly explained his unease, as he realized the novel's protagonist was in the cabin behind him. With fellow passenger Yu Sang-ah, he pondered the unfolding chaos. They believed only 2 of them in cabin 3807 would survive, Lee Hyun-sung and Kim Nam-woon, who were attacking an elderly woman. Kim Nam-woon's actions shattered moral boundaries, and Hyun Seong-lee could barely watch. They realized that, if no one intervened, all in the cabin would perish. Kim Dokja's past reading revealed a thought-provoking concept, whether it was fair to watch an innocent woman die to save oneself. Yu Sang-ah attempted to intervene, but Kim Dokja stopped her, reminding her of the danger and her non-heroine role in this world. He waited for the right moment to act, and found it when a loud bang and smoke filled the back cabin. In a tense moment, Kim Dokja rushed to save an elderly woman from harm and faced off with a hostile figure named Kim Nam-woon. Kim Dokja's motive was simple: he wanted to prevent harm. Kim Nam-woon reacted aggressively, but Kim Dokja remained committed to a mysterious mission. It led him to a group of people collecting insects, an unusual activity given the dangerous circumstances. He interrupted their actions to stress that hurting the elderly woman wouldn't guarantee their safety. This got their attention, and Kim Dokja asked them about their future targets. As tensions rose, Kim Nam-woon hinted that Kim Dokja might be their next victim. Kim Dokja questioned their decision to gamble with lives when there was an alternative, harming any living being, not just humans. The weight of their previous actions made Kim Dokja smile, and he started to wonder about his own nature. A character profile revealed that Kim Nam-woon was an edgelord who had long expected the apocalypse and adapted quickly. Now, he sought an alliance with Kim Dokja. Kim Dokja refused an offer from Kim Nam-woon, leading to disappointment from Kim Nam-woon. Kim Dokja, aware of his future character from reading the novel, didn't like Kim Nam-woon after meeting him in person. Kim Nam-woon warned Kim Dokja to stay away, as he had unfinished business and wanted to catch a bug. Kim Dokja dodged Kim Nam-woon's attacks, who had unlocked the edgelord skill. Kim Dokja realized this skill might be the reason the protagonist recruited Kim Nam-woon. System messages showed Kim Dokja's growing understanding of Kim Nam-woon and his own skill, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, which allowed him to predict Kim Nam-woon's moves. Despite Kim Nam-woon's attempts, he couldn't harm Kim Dokja due to this skill. Kim Dokja fell, realizing he could only dodge attacks, not counter. To protect an old lady and prevent Kim Nam-woon from progressing, Kim Dokja exposed himself, allowing Kim Nam-woon to strike. Kim Dokja, realizing he had to follow the rules to survive, answered a question correctly and received bonus coins, while Kim Nam-woon questioned his knowledge. Choosing to skip a coin usage tutorial, Kim Dokja invested in stamina, significantly boosting his physical durability. Kim Nam-woon attempted to pierce him but failed, leading to Kim Dokja's declaration that it was Kim Nam-woon who would meet his end. With less than a minute left in the scenario, Namoon Kim desperately attacked Kim Dokja, but Kim Dokja remained unfazed. As the timer ended, Kim Nam-woon's fate was sealed. After the first scenario ended, there were only 5 survivors left. They were Lee Hyun-sung, Yu Sang-ah, Lee Gil-yong, Han Mayong-oh, and Kim Dokja. Kim Dokja stared at the lifeless body of Kim Nam-woon and regretted not saving those people. He felt guilty but strangely calm, as if he was just reading a novel instead of being part of it. Because he had killed non-resistant creatures, he lost half of the coins he had collected, leaving him with 3,500 coins out of the initial 6,200. Kim Dokja believed that their old world had collapsed, and a new one was emerging. He was the only one who knew how this world would end. The train stopped on a bridge, and they saw a huge, snake-like monster just outside the bridge. In this world, scenarios took precedence, so they wouldn't be attacked by creatures outside the scenario. The white Takibi was happy because many mysterious beings called constellations were watching his channel. In the original story, Kim Man-woon had killed almost everyone in this cabin, leading to some constellations harboring hostility toward Kim Dokja. This era seemed to begin due to Kim Dokja's actions. Some constellations supported him, while others resented him. Kim Dokja knew that constellations played a vital role in the events of this world. Yu Sang-ah asked if Kim Dokja was okay, and he apologized for not saving an old lady. Kim Dokja believed that Yu Sang-ah was smart enough to survive the chaos. The Dokaibi was delighted as 21 constellations watched his channel. There were 5 survivors, more than Kim Dokja had expected. He invited Lee Gil-yong to team up, even though it might seem hypocritical. Some constellations were impressed by his actions and rewarded him with 200 coins. Han Myung-oh, another survivor, asked the Dokaibi if they could leave. The Dokaibi mentioned the monsters outside, leaving Han Myung-oh speechless. The Dokaibi was impressed that none of the survivors had died in the first scenario, showing that even underdogs deserve to survive. The Dokaibi announced that the survivors were now eligible for sponsorship by constellations. He explained that they were weak and needed sponsors to face the next scenario. Lee Hyun-sang asked what sponsorship meant, and the Dokaibi showed them a status window by snapping his fingers instead of explaining it. Kim Dokja had to choose from 4 sponsors. Yu Sang-ah told him about 2 strange options that popped up. Kim Dokja didn't know much about them and advised Yu Sang-ah to treat it like an aptitude test. Kim Dokja thought she was lucky to have 2 sponsorship options. Yu Sang-ah struggled to decide. He believed that the constellations supported them, and the sponsor selection was a significant event in the story. The sponsor selection allowed constellations to pick a human as their incarnation through Takibi's channels. Kim Dokja had 5 options, but needed to deduce their identities from their nicknames. He easily recognized the abyssal black flame dragon, which was good for early scenarios, but had drawbacks, including losing senses and developing a killer instinct. He was surprised to see the demonic judge of fire on his list, which turned out to be Archangel Uriel. The secretive plotter seemed mysterious. The prisoner of the golden headband also appeared on the list, who turned out to be Sun Wukong. Kim Dokja wondered why they chose him. The sponsor selection ended, and the Dokaibi declared it interesting. Kim Dokja then told everyone to gather around. Hyun-seon Lee introduced himself with a strong handshake. Kim Dokja recognized him as the tanker from the early stages of the novel and thought about recruiting him. Han Myung-oh also approached, and Kim Dokja acknowledged him. He urged everyone to realize the seriousness of the situation and noted the game-like attributes and skills. He suggested they needed to find a way out, but the survivors were initially skeptical. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the other side of the door. The survivors were shocked and confused. Kim Dokja wanted to move to the next part of the story but couldn't because the Dokaibi hadn't returned yet. He believed the person behind the door was the only survivor from subway cabin 3707, the true protagonist. He convinced Lee Hyun-sung that they had to leave immediately to avoid death in the upcoming scenario. Lee Hyun-sung wasn't sure if the person behind the door was an enemy, but Kim Dokja argued they had to find another door among the 8 in the cabin. Just as they were about to break open the door to the next cabin, Yu Sang-ah noticed a slightly open door. They opened it successfully and rushed toward the bridge. However, the Dokaibi appeared, angry they hadn't followed his instructions. A new scenario started, crossing a soon-to-collapse bridge to reach Oksu Station in 20 minutes. Kim Dokja suspected something was wrong when the bridge hadn't collapsed yet, but he urged everyone to run and try to cross it early. As they moved forward, they encountered a sea monster emerging from a whirlpool. The Dokaibi made things harder by increasing the difficulty and added pursuing zombies. Lee Hyun-sung and Lee Gil-yong reached Oksu Station, but Kim Dokja, Yu Sang-ah, and Han Myung-oh found themselves surrounded by zombies on the bridge while the sea serpent attacked.